Okay, we are live. Raindrops. All right, who do we have here? Carlos is. Hi, LaDawn Denny. Carlos is on CP time. Listen, I have been all over the place. A lot has been going on. Not docking my pay, Lord. All right. Monique Allen wants to dock my pay. Come on. It was 7 minutes is not the end of the world, raindrops. All right. We have a lot to talk about. I don't want to keep y'all waiting. I thank y'all so much for wait, who's in the Netherlands, child? I'm staying up to listen in from the Netherlands. It's 1 a.m. here, and I have to work at 9 a.m. So Carlos better show up. Okay, I'm here. I'm sorry. Okay. Dustin, Claudia, we have fans in the Netherlands. Okay. All right, I'm here. Okay. So let's get things started. Y'all know what I like to do. Thank you. I get a 10-minute grace period. Thank you. Hi, Lionel. Okay. I love y'all. Okay, so check this out. I had a great weekend. Y'all know how I feel about like giving y'all an update before I bring in Claudia and Dustin. But this story involves Dustin. So long story short, I had to go to New York City. I had a lot of things I had to do, a lot of press. It was also Gay Pride weekend. Raindrops, I will be on the Breakfast Club tomorrow morning. So catch that. It drops at 7 a.m. So wake up, because I'm about to what? Wake it up. So catch me on the Breakfast Club with Jess Hilaria, Charlamagne, and Lauren LaRosa. They interviewed me, and we get into a lot of topics. I had a great time. And I have a special announcement that I'm announcing on the Breakfast Club tomorrow. So Raindrops, I gave y'all a shout out, Raindrops. Check out my Instagram. The Breakfast Club posted the promo. I shouted out the Raindrops. I only talk to y'all. So check that out, but please watch it. They're going to drop it on YouTube. Listen to it on the radio. Listen to it as well. It's a great conversation. You get to know a little bit more about me, about my process, and a lot of other things. So watch that. So because I was in New York City, it was Gay Pride weekend. I'm wearing the New York hat to celebrate Gay Pride in red because red is my color. Anyways, so I had a great time in New York City Gay Pride weekend because, with work, you got to have a little bit of fun. So Friday night, I text Dustin because Dustin Ross is the mayor of New York City. So I hit up Dustin because my life is so crazy that I was like, oh, wait a second. I'm in New York. It's about to be the evening. Let me hit up Dustin. So I'm like, Dustin, I'm in New York City. What's popping tonight? Because I knew to ask anybody in New York City where to go is Dustin Ross. So Dustin said in very Dustin Ross fashion, I'm actually hosting a party tonight. You want to come? I'm like, yes, Dustin. So here I go. Who should my people call? That's for Claudia. So I was like, should my assistant call somebody, Dustin, to make sure I'm good at the door? and Dustin's like, it's me. You on my list. So I was on Dustin Ross' list. So I showed up Friday night to a club called Fifth and Madison or Fifth and Mad, something child. So shout out to Dustin Ross. I had a great time. Shout out to Rich Star, New York City, as well. He's a party promoter who I've known for like 20 years. Shout out to Rich Star NYC. Shout out to Joe Norris, who was very sweet. He's also a promoter as well. Shout out to Joe Norris. But Dustin was there. Me and Dustin had a great time. I haven't seen Dustin in that element in a while. Let me tell y'all something about Dustin. I know all the ladies and the men Love Dustin. And when I say to y'all, y'all are not alone. Everybody loves Dustin. Dustin is like the mayor of New York City. So it was nice to see Dustin in his element. Dustin friends are gorgeous. Dustin has a beautiful female friend. I forgot her name. She's gorgeous. So me and Dustin hung out Friday night. Shout out to all the gays who came out. They were so fantastic. Thank y'all so much for the love y'all gave me Friday night. I also had something to do Saturday. So I went to a day party Saturday night. And I want to shout out Bay John. Bay John's from Philly. And Bay John, because let me tell y'all something. I just be showing up because I don't, whatever. So I just show up. And I'd be like, hi. And they'd be like, hey. And Bay John was like, you good? I'm like, I don't know. Let me speak to the promoter. He said, I got you. So Bay John was great. Bay John made everything work out for me. So shout out to Bay John. So that was a day party Saturday. Niecy Nash was there with her wife, Jess. And me and Niecy Nash were on the float together too. So that was good. Sherry Shepherd was there. So I got a chance to meet Sherry Shepherd. Larry Sims, who is, I told you guys last week, he's an iconic, amazing hairstylist. He was there too. And he said, let me tell you about Monday Night Live. Hold on, real quick. Larry Sims is iconic hairstylist who works with everybody from Gap Union, their best friends, to Sanaa Lathan. Larry Sims comes up to me. I haven't seen Larry in years. And he's like, I heard you talked about me on your show. And I was like, I don't talk about anybody negatively. And he said, no, somebody called me and said, Carlos brought your name up. But it was a compliment and they showed it to me. So that was sweet because you never know what we say to get our foot in our mouths. So that happened. Shout out to Larry Sims. So we had fun Saturday. And then Saturday night, I went to a club called Stage 48. JT performed from City Girls. I got a chance to meet Armand Wiggins in person. I finally met Armand Wiggins in person. Armand Wiggins, I told y'all before, I'm a fan of Armand. Armand is gorgeous. I've said it before, that is a gorgeous chocolate man. His name should be Armand Tyson. He is a stallion. We could call him Armand the Stallion or call him Armand Tyson. He is like guns blazing, just blaze, Rockefeller. Like Armand is like, Armand is. So I'm minding my business, child. And I see this chocolate drop like this. What up, Lowe's? I'm like, Armand. Hey, Carlos. Yeah. Armand was wonderful. Me and Armand had a great exchange. He's lovely. It was nice to finally meet him in person. Armand is beautiful. Okay, he is so beautiful. And then Armand was with Make It Make Sense. Y'all know him from YouTube. Make It Make Sense was there. He is so handsome, so great. So I want to shout them out. So long story short, I just want to say this as we celebrate Pride. I was also on the float too, child, with Niecy Nash. It was great. So with that being said, I do want to say this. As today is the final day of Gay Pride Month, I do want to shout out to the beautiful Black gay men I got a chance to meet over the weekend who has shown me so much love. They poured into me like no other. And sometimes, this is real, sometimes you think you have people who may not get you or get your humor or even watch you. And I know that if you focus on social media, you would think that the gay Black community don't support each other. And I'm here to tell y'all on some real shit, that is not true. It is not true. The love that I received in New York City this past weekend was nothing short of amazing. So I want to dedicate this episode, hence my fitted, to the beautiful gay Black men in Detroit, not Detroit child, in New York City this weekend, who was beautiful inside and out. And it was nice to be amongst my community where we all can celebrate each other. So there we go. All right. So thank y'all, New York City. My love to you guys. And thank you to everybody, the promoters, the DJs, everybody. I love you guys deep. All right. So we have to get into the season finale of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. So let's bring up my beautiful friends who are also beautiful on the inside and out, Claudia Jordan and Dustin Ross.
Not you crushing on Armand. I just sent him a text. I said, Carlos is gushing over you right now. He said, send me the clip. I said, oh, you're going to want to post this one, honey.
Whatever. Knock. Shut up, Claudia. I am purely complimenting the fact that it was nice when you were able to meet people who you watch on YouTube.
Sure.
And Armand and make it make sense. He sometimes goes by Mims.
Mims, I love him.
Oh, no, they're beautiful people. But listen, honey, we're talking about Dustin Ross, though.
Don't even try it. First of all, first things first, everything you said about Armand, echo it times 10. I saw Armand last night. We went to dinner a couple weeks ago, had a great time. Armand is my homeboy. I really, really fuck with Armand. I love Armand. So shout out to Armand Wiggins. Second of all, Bejan. Bejan is first of all a nurse, and he has an incredible business, Black-owned business, a nursing firm that he created. He is an incredible promoter, and he's my brother. We've been brothers for many, many years. We 20 years deep in this thing. And Bejan was at my house last night. You know what I'm saying? It's just so funny how connected everything is.
Yeah.
But back to you. Carlos is officially a catch. Several of my friends, which we've been new, right? This ain't nothing new because Carlos been king. But several people who I knew and people who I didn't know felt bold enough to approach me to try to make me a link, which I wasn't going to be, but they was on your body. And Carlos is so Detroit, you know, we just be low key with it. He was in the cut. You know what I'm saying? I had to make him walk around a little bit, but he was in the cut and he was having a good time. So it was wonderful to see you. And thank you so much for coming out because everybody was so hype. Also, shout out to Joe Morris. Shout out to Sean Don.
Yes.
My brother.
Yes, Sean Don. I'm sorry.
Yes,
sorry. Thank you, Dustin. Shout out to Sean Don. Thank you.
Hell yeah. Him and Rich Starr, two of my long time. These my niggas literally years. So it was so good to see you. We had such a good time. New York City was on fire this weekend and it was great. So everything you said times 10. Hi, Claudia. I love you.
Hi,
Can't wait to see you. Yeah.
Listen, it's like you and Carlos in New York, me and you in DC. You'll be in Dallas on Wednesday. But when are all three of us going to hang out? Carlos, are you working on Miami or not? Because that's what the fans want.
I don't announce anything until it has something to be announced. So just know that one thing about Carlos Reginald King I, I am always working, and I'm always working to make things happen. And as we can see with this beautiful trifecta, I love working with my friends. So
yes.
I will send your assistant my frequent flyer and my Advantage account number for American and Delta. Those are the only two airlines I use. There will be no Spirit.
One thing about them damn raindrops too, the raindrops work, they're educated and they're smart and they have careers. So shout out to the raindrops that work in marketing, that control those budgets. We need all the sponsors we get for our upcoming live event. Put us in the game. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can throw us the good, I ain't gonna put no number on it, but you know, if you run that sort of budget for those brand partnerships and you're a raindrop, you hold the keys, put us in position. We would love that.
Well, I love to see that you two got to hang out in New York. I wish I could have flown there and hung with you. I was in LA. I was with my best friend Annie, and I had a pitch meeting. I had two pitch meetings out there. I'm trying to get some shows back on television. And one was at Heartbeat Studios, Kevin Hart's production company. Went really well. And we were talking before the show, ain't nothing until it's something, until it airs, until it and then the check clears. So I don't get excited like, oh, it's happening. So it was just nice to have I'm grateful for even just the opportunity to be heard and to be able to pitch a show because I really enjoy creating shows. I really, really, and if it happens, I think I'll be very happy. But what's up, y'all? I've been looking forward to this tonight.
I am too. But I was looking forward to seeing Dustin Ross on Watch What Happens Live. So before we recap last night's episode of the Real Housewives of Atlanta season 16 finale. Dustin, now we have a platonic friendship, right? You listen, you're gorgeous. You know that. Dustin, you look super fine with the shades and the denim. I'm like,
thank you.
Dustin is very sexy, like effortlessly sexy without trying. You can tell the way he talks that it's heavy and that he knows what he's doing. You can just tell he's got that kind of swag. I'll say it, Carlos, so you employ him. I don't. We are friends. You can just tell from his swag, like it's undeniable. Some people don't have to say shit. They walk in the room and I think someone in the comments said they can tell it's heavy. And not to make you feel like a piece of meat, but he just
I don't mind. It's okay. It's okay. I actually like it. But thank you very much. I appreciate both of your compliments. It's TV, you know what I'm saying? I don't do too much, but when it's time to put it on, I'm gonna put my shit on. So I appreciate that. Watch What Happens Live was great. Shout out to Bravo. I'm so appreciative of them giving me the opportunity to go promote my comedy tour. I have dates left. I'm going to see Claudia this Wednesday in Dallas at the Dallas Improv. You can get tickets at DustinRossLive.com. I have a show in Houston the next day on Thursday, July 3rd at the Houston Improv as well. Again, DustinRossLive.com. That's where those tickets live. San Francisco is July 24th and Atlanta is August 16th. So there's dates coming up, but shout out to Bravo and shout out to my boy Andy Cohen, who invited me to come on the show and promote my tour. That is invaluable, and I'm so grateful. So it was so much fun, and then I thought it was kind of dope that I was able to be there for the season finale episode. That's a huge episode of the season, so I was just really grateful and happy to be there. So yeah, thank you.
You deserve all of it. You've been rocking with the show, doing reviews since before it became popular to actually.
You remember?
I do.
Yeah.
I remember you doing your reviews. I think it was 2015 that I became aware of you, 14, 15. And you were excellent then. You're excellent now. And he knows to attach his wagon to a star. He sees what you're doing in that tour.
Thank you. It was a dope episode. Y'all saw they had me on there with Phaedra Parks.
Your favorite,
Ariana Bierman. Yeah. Yep, it was cool.
Did y'all have a chance to chit chat talk or?
We did meet. After when we concluded taping. You know how they make you go take the pictures on the step and repeat. She introduced herself to me then, and I was actually going to introduce myself to her first, just to be cordial or whatever. But she ended up introducing herself to me. We didn't engage much. There was no reason for us to interact. You know what I'm saying? And it's a professional environment. I was there to work and focus on my tour and promoting that. So that was that. You know what I'm saying? She turned around when we were about to take our pictures, and she was like, "I didn't get to introduce myself. I'm Phaedra. How you doing?" I shook her hand, and she, we shook hands or whatever. And I was like, "I'm Dustin. It's nice to meet you." She's like, "It's nice to meet you." It is, we went on and took the pictures and shit, and that was it. I think people expected it to be like a gotcha moment, but it's not that. Y'all know it's never gonna be that with me. And number two, Phaedra hasn't done anything to me. You know what I'm saying? I've given my opinion on the things that she's done on the show that I thought were dumb, but I don't know her personally. I don't have like a personal issue with her. So there was no need for it to be any sort of tension, anything like that. I know her photographer, the photographer that she was working with when we taped the show, I knew him. So it was good energy in the studio. You know what I'm saying? It was.
Well, I love that, you don't waver, you keep the same energy. And of course, you don't have a personal issue with her. There's no reason for it.
Yeah.
How she carries herself on the show. But I do like when they asked you who the MVP was, and you said it with your whole chest, Angela Oakley, who's someone that Phaedra put a target on, and we don't know why.
Yeah.
And Phaedra's face she was trying so hard to look unaffected, but it was very obvious. And my friend, I definitely clipped it, put it on my page, and I'll be the I'll be the head.
It's the truth. You asked me a question, I'm gonna tell you the truth, and that's who I feel like the season MVP was. That's who I enjoyed the most. So that's the answer I gave.
Well, you looked amazing, and
thank you, friend. Thank you so much. Thank you.
No, you did. And speaking of which, let's get into the season 16 finale of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. I will say this: I thoroughly enjoyed this season. Shout out to Bravo. Shout out to Truly Original. Listen, I obviously have been very honest about past seasons of the show. I will say this about this season. I do feel like the Real Housewives of Atlanta is back. I've had so much fun recapping these episodes with Claudia and Dustin for the past 16 weeks.
Yes.
It feels like yesterday. So before we get into that, I did want to say that this has been pure joy to recap these episodes. We do have 3 more reunions that we're going to recap starting next week. But I wanted to kick things off by saying that, but I also want to kick things off by talking about the episode and getting y'all thoughts on the finale. So one of the things that occurred in this finale, the finale had a lot of interesting things happening into it. So if it's okay with you, Dustin and Claudia, I just want to get right into like juicy stuff, right? Okay, fine. Okay, go. Okay, so I do want to get into what I felt was this nice, nasty exchange between Shamia and Britt. I want to get there first. So Shamia is a singer. Shamia is working with RL from the, notoriously iconic group Next. They had a #1 hit called Too Close. And which, by the way, some of you guys in New York.
Got too close.
Got too close. I digress. Anyways, but what I will say, my best friend had to be like, "Can y'all stop?" Like, whatever.
Your best friend was cool. Go ahead, though.
Yeah. He's like, everyone thinks he's my African, which is funny, but I digress.
Oh.
I know, Dustin. It's hilarious. But anyways, Shamia is having like a showcase, right? Dustin is hilarious. Inside joke. Shamia is having a showcase. The girls came to it. I'll say this much. You can say what you want about Shamia, but I would love to get Dustin and Claudia's thoughts. In my opinion, Shamia can sing. And listen, I know how these shows work. There's always going to be a moment where something may be a little off that is an opportunity for a shady bite. But I think overall, I thought Shamia did a great job. I think she can sing. Drew shaded her. They flashed back to Drew Child at the reunion. But I thought Shamia did a good job. What you guys think?
I thought she did a good job too. Listen, is she talented? Right? That's the focus here. It's not the choices. Did I agree with the wardrobe? No. Did I think that I thought she was just having fun? You know what I mean? Shamia has access to resources, and she was able to be like, I want this like this, that like that, that like that, and perform for her friends that knew her. And she had a good time doing it. That's what that was to me. She was like a kid in a toy box. And I thought that was cool. You know what I mean? Do I think she's talented? Can she sing? Hell yeah, she can sing. She's got a great singing voice. And she's actually got a really beautiful speaking voice too. I love listening to Shamia talk. And so that was it for me. That was not awards show worthy performance, but it should not have had that level of expectation because it wasn't that. It was just her showcasing her music for the people that she invited that came.
Agreed. Now, I don't like that there's been shade between her and Drew because they actually essentially are wanting to do the same thing, sing, and actually Drew is more established in that arena. And the luxury you get when you are a singer and you grind it out on the road in small venues is no one sees you when you miss a note or when you have bad performances. But when you do and launch a career, like a secondary career on a reality show, people can see all your missteps, all your fine tuning. Shamia will be just fine. She has the basics. She has a singing voice. She has charisma. I love her speaking voice as well. Great. She'll be fine. And that comes with repetitions. I'm friends with a lot of singers, and listen, like, they showed her missing a note or whatever, or screeching, whatever, or hitting didn't quite hit the note. That happens. It happens all the time. And she shouldn't be penalized for that. Like she somehow can't sing or that takes away from her talent. Even your faves have nights where that happens. That's part of the process. Right. Your favorite comedians will bomb. Your favorite TV hosts will mess up a sentence. Your favorite actors will mess up a scene. That's all in the process of fine tuning. And Shamia is at the beginning of her singing career. She'll be just fine. And, she's showing us the beginning of a career. And that's actually a brave thing to do. Because like I said, most people have the luxury of doing it like behind closed doors, or you don't really see much of it. Like, kind of in a lower visibility. I think she did fine.
Yeah. No, listen, I thought she sounded fine too. It was an opportunity for her and Britt to have a one-on-one. Britt kept the bob in for another week. Shout out to Britt. Love the bob. Thank you for extending it for another week's episode, child. I'm a happy camper. Shout out to Paris Che for another styling successful look.
I saw Paris last night too. Shout out to Paris Che. I saw Paris last night.
Oh, good. Paris Che, so you guys know, is the stylist who was styling Kelly and Britt. So Shamia, okay. Sometimes it is hard for me to watch reality TV because I know how it works. And every once in a while, I'll see a moment that I'm like, I break the fourth wall in my head. Mm-hmm. Shamia did not want to talk to Britt after her performance. She did. It's evident. They told Shamia, which nothing's wrong with that. You're doing a job. Shamia, go talk to Britt. And she was like, really? After my event, I gotta talk. Well, she's here. We need to wrap this storyline up, girl, which is the right thing to do. Wrap it up. But to see how reluctant Shamia was sort of like what happens when you have an annoying ex-boyfriend who is not happy that you moved on. Shout out to Claudia Jordan, honey. I'm teasing. Claudia can take a joke. So Shamia is like,
Shamia was like,
thank you, Dustin. Mm-hmm. I got
okay, Carlos, focus. Okay. I know you're giving Butch energy today. Not gonna happen. He's so masculine today. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. Went to Pride and got Butch. What happened? The voice went down. It's like, yes. I was like, what's good? What? Okay, Carlos.
Look, Claudia, look at my outfit.
Okay, you're back. Okay.
Hell yeah, Lord.
Okay,
hell yeah.
I see what's going on here.
Leave me alone. Okay, look. So Shamia is like this the whole time. So
she was.
We I'm a Grenada. You said something and I didn't like it. I don't know why you said it. I don't what and Britt the whole time is like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like eager to have the conversation. So one of the things that has been rumored for a long time, let's talk about it. It has been rumored based on interviews the girls have done. I believe Shamia and Kelly specifically, if I'm not mistaken. There's been conversations during press runs that Britt said something horrible about Shamia. And I want to make sure I get the words right because I don't want to apply the wrong label to anybody, let alone a child. Some people said special needs, which I'm not sure that's the right word to use for Shamia's daughter.
This is her youngest daughter.
So the youngest one, right? Are we? Do we say special needs? Because I know she's dealing with a health issue.
I just say youngest to make the distinction.
Okay, the youngest. Okay, thank you. Mm-hmm. There were conversations that Britt made a comment about Shamia's youngest child. Mm-hmm. And the rumor for the longest time was that she made a comment that questioned whether or not Shamia's youngest daughter had any health issues. I think that was the thing that I'll speak for myself. That was something that sort of was perpetuated. Mm-hmm. So in that moment, what I was thinking was about to happen was that Britt just said, you found out your daughter was sick and you decided to go to Miami and you to go home. And I was just like, well, if she's really sick, why are you here? And Shamia said, don't bring on my child. Based on that alone, did you two feel like, okay, was it hyped up or was it still on the evil playing field of, regardless of what's being said, don't bring on my child in general?
I do hate when someone's insulting you and you say, you coming for my child. I think that's like a easy way to get out of something. But I will tell you this, Shamia did tell me that Britt did say something questioning whether or not her daughter was actually really sick. So I don't think they showed it in the show, but I think that's what happened. I know we can't break the fourth wall on the show. Like we can only, they can comment with the show, but that's what she said. We didn't see that, but we saw her allude to something like, well, was she really that sick if you were out here doing shots? She was trying to give her an insult. She was trying to insult Shamia as a mom is how I took it. So, and sometimes that happens, right? Where someone says something even more foul and it doesn't quite make the edit. And then your reaction looks bigger, like, damn, why was she so mad? It wasn't that bad, but it really was that bad in person. But that's what I had heard that Britt did. It questioned whether or not her daughter was really sick or had issues. So that's my inside that I can. I know it's not that much tea. It's not like breaking news. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, I actually agree with you. So first of all, it was definitely presented to the audience so far, you know what I'm saying, as if Britt made a comment that was derogatory in reference to Shamia's youngest daughter, who we all know has challenges with her health. She was born prematurely. We know the story, right? And we all feel for her for that, and of course for that child. So what we saw in that scene did not match up with what we thought it was. We didn't hear her say anything about, we thought that she said something about Shamia's youngest daughter, like a derogatory insult about that child, and we didn't see that. Now, also, if I'm being real, if I was a father and my baby, whether my baby had challenges with their health or not, but especially if my baby had challenges with their health, don't say shit about my child. I don't care how close, don't even get close to a comment about my kid. Otherwise, that's me and you. So I can understand that logic. And I think that's what happened here. I just wish it would have been presented as that. Like, hey, we were arguing. She said something in red, not about my daughter, but in reference to me being a good mother to my daughter. And it triggered me. Say that. Don't say Britt said something about my child, because we didn't see her say anything about her child on the show. We don't know what made the edit and what didn't, or we don't know what didn't make the edit, I should say. But based on what we saw, we didn't see what we thought we were going to see in that argument.
Yeah. And look, one of the things that, because, I like to make sure that we always report exactly what was said. So thank you for the people, the comments saying, I mean, again, I wasn't saying she's special needs. I was saying people were out there saying that. A lot of people are saying just say she has health issues. So thank you for that. Now, one thing that a lot of people are saying, and listen, I'm not a parent, and that's my full disclaimer. Shamia is this person's mother, right? And Britt did question, is she even really sick? Listen to the argument is what people are saying. Go ahead, Dustin. I'm sorry.
I didn't mean to interrupt. She did say, is she really even sick? But based on the context of the conversation that was going on, that was in reference to the breakdown that Shamia had when they were in Grenada, and she found out that, remember, the babysitter or the nanny had left her daughter in a cold room. Her daughter's body temperature had fallen. She had symptoms of a cold or flu, and Shamia had a lot of anxiety about that. So when Britt said, well, is she even sick? I don't think that was intended to mean to question the severity of Shiloh's health challenges. I think it was questioning the accuracy of Shamia, painting a picture of her daughter going through a temporary illness, not her long-standing health challenges. There's a difference. You get what I'm saying? Like, does she really even have a cold? You know what I mean?
It's right. So what Dustin is saying, that I see what Dustin is saying. Dustin is saying, when Britt said, is she even really sick? On one side, you could look at it, Britt questioning, was the youngest daughter sick at that moment? Not the history of her illness. Is she even really sick? Is she sick right now? Because if she was sick, would you be at home? So I see what you're saying there, Dustin, too. And look, I started by saying this. I'm not a parent. I know when my mother was alive, child, and my mother would go from 0 to Freddy Krueger if you say anything about her child, right? And that's why I think when it comes to Shamia, I also understand as a mother, number one, as a mother, number two, as a mother who has to spend, and I follow Shamia on social media, a lot of us do. Before Shamia was a housewife, she chronicled. Thank you. She chronicled her journey dealing with her youngest daughter's health issues in and out the hospital. She celebrated her daughter coming home. I want to say in a day or two or less, she had to go back to the hospital. So any sort of mention of your child could trigger any mother. And I do see why Shamia instantly said, kids are off limits. And one thing I will say, and I want to hear from Claudia, one thing I will say, working on all the shows I worked on for 18 years, one thing I will say, those women always say, one thing we're not going to ever do is talk about each other's children. And that is a pact that I know these housewives do have.
Let's just say this. I do agree with both of you. I do believe that, and I know I come for Brittany because I just don't like her character at this point. I don't hate her, but she just does a lot of she just makes a lot of unforced errors that she could actually have had a cool season, but she just does a lot of goofy shit. Yeah, maybe in this incident, she wasn't questioning the overall health of Shamia's child. Like, is the child really even have any issues? She maybe met in that moment because she was trying to come for Shamia's parenting. Like, well, you didn't rush back home. But here's the thing. When you have a child, and I'm not a parent either, but I have nieces and I have compassion. When you have a family member, when you have a child that's chronically sick since birth, the last thing you want to hear from some bitch I just did a show with that I already am not feeling is whether or not it's up to your standard of sick enough for you to judge whether or not I should be rushing back to get home. It's really none of your goddamn business, really. Yeah. And it's just something you should probably just stay away from. If I knew one of you had, chronic anemia or sickle cell or whatever, but you weren't that sick today, I would probably leave it out of our entire debates. Like, that's one thing I would probably read you down and just go for something else. Just leave it out. This, you have so much other material. You can come for her singing, come for her fashions, come for her husband's never there at the filming. I'm giving you things, Britt. Come for that. But just to say, was she even that sick because you didn't rush back home and you pulling up drinks? Say something else. It just was in poor taste because even if you didn't mean it that way, it's going to read that way to a mother who has to always deal with seeing her kid in and out of the hospital. She's not going to be rational and say, well, she only met this time and not overall. She's going to think, I'm mama bear to my child. Fuck any time you talk about my kid and her illness, because it's something I have to deal with all the time. So just leave that out. Just leave it out, Britt. We know in that moment it wasn't the overall, but it's just in poor taste because that kid is sick often. So why do it? And you were the main one with your dramatic, your dramatic over the top monologue. I'm always gonna be there for your time, but I love you, bitch. Please, now we just throw that horrific performance out the window. And like I said, I know bad acting. I do Tubi movies all the time. I'm gonna be doing one soon next month. But I'm just saying, like, are you with it or you're not, Britt? Because you were right there with it, with the dramatic moment. Or were you just trying to get camera time off of Shamia's ill child?
Yeah, and look, I think that's the reason why I wanted to start off with that, because I know it was something that was sort of like hanging off since the show premiered. And it's one of those things, I'm going to say it because I'm a producer. It's the reason why I don't like when things get leaked before we watch it. Because what happens is you hype things up. And when I say that, I'm not saying it was hyped up, okay? What I'm saying is, before we're able to watch things with context, it's hard to reveal things that we're going to watch that we haven't seen yet. Because once we see it, we're sort of like, oh, it's sort of like when you meet a guy and he's like, I'm good doing this, and you're like, okay,
yeah,
and then you're like, oh,
anti-dramatic a little bit, kind of takes the wind out of the sails a little bit, yeah,
want. So,
that's the word.
So I wanted to make sure that
ain't nothing worse than you thought it was about to be good and it's horrible. And you'd be like, oh my God, whatever. Now I got to call somebody else.
Yes, just manage it. Just say, you know what? I'd rather you just say, I'm okay. And let me be pleasantly surprised so I could just get in the group chat with my girls and be like, girl. Oh.
Number one, you ain't got no game if you're talking about how good it is anyway. So let's start there. So
You do
shame on
not.
us for fucking people who talked about it because we were dumb for doing that.
Oh yeah. I'd
Anyway.
rather have a sneak, unexpected back breaking without me expecting it. Like I'd rather be like, oh, what? Oh, hold on. I wasn't ready. Oh, I gotta sit in the hot tub after this. I need some Epsom sauce. I need to close it back up now.
Well, speaking of Britt, I do want to get into. No, we were talking about Britt. Don't do me, Claudia.
Like,
you are
back. Speaking of,
no. I'm segue. Listen. This is the View, and I will be Goldberg. It's called a segue. Okay. So we're on the topic of Britt and Shamia, so I want to transition into talking about Britt. Britt taped a scene where she was looking at a PJ, a private jet.
Mm-hmm.
Her and her husband went to an area in Atlanta where they do, sometimes sell, sometimes do a timeshare, sometimes rent private planes. So we see Britt and her husband looking at a private plane. We saw the inside the plane. And then the next thing I know, the scene was over with. It was literally a 1-minute scene. And listen.
They say get out of here because the real owners and renters are coming up in here and you taking up space. But we're going to slide you in before the real people that really can afford to rent this and buy this come. Brittany, don't play with us. To quote my former co-host, girl, get off my line. Shout out to Funky Diney, but like, girl, bye. That was so fake. Just like going and see all these like things you do to try to fill up space. And okay, Carlos, okay, Dustin, they went and looked at a plane. You know what I did this weekend? I went and looked at a high rise in downtown Dallas. I can't afford that. Okay, stop with if you giving $250 for a fundraiser, which that's totally within your limits. Why do you give us this? It's so fake. It's so annoying. Listen, I keep it a buck. Fashion Nova, Sheen, all that. Okay. That's how I dress. I do not try to I do not go chasing financial waterfalls. Stay in your meat. Like, it's nothing wrong with that. Everyone's so fucking fake on that show with this. We're going to go and look at a private jet. And he was like, God bless her husband. He goes along with her delusional shenanigans. Like, okay, honey, we're going to go look at a jet for the scene. It's such acting. It's so ridiculous. Yes. I don't give a fuck if y'all think I'm hating. I am. I think it's corny. I think that's why people like authenticity. You got Angela over here talking about she's going through folks. She's going to lose these homes. And that's why we like her, right? Because she's like, hey, it's not pleasant, but it's my reality. You're in no way, shape, or form about to go buy a private jet. You're not. So why are you doing that? You're underestimating the intelligence of your audience. And it's so corny. Like, Britt, if you didn't do all the other fuckery, we would like you without having to do the private jet thing. You don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. Like, we don't expect you. If you're getting $40,000 for the season, we know you're not getting a private jet. Sorry. Neither am I. I'm no better than you. I can't get one either. I barely can get on jet. And I'll do the little, was it $3.99 to go to Vegas one way in a private jet?
JFX. Yeah.
And those
if you know, you know. If you know, you know.
That little 4-seater jet. That's that 4 people. You don't want to buy that jet. Girl, bye. Don't go chasing financial waterfalls. Please stick to the rivers and the lakes.
I'm going to have RL work with you next, Claudia. I'm going to have RL work with you next, baby. RL from next child. Okay. Dustin Ross.
Yeah.
What did you think about that scene, sir?
And she couldn't even buy lunch. You going to get a jet? I'm sorry.
Because you keep reminding me of things that I have forgotten in association with that private jet scene. So I'm reacting in real time. Sorry if my count.
Cynthia said, "Win a case
right now.
Buy a steak. Buy a steak."
So listen. I thought it was out of place. I think a scene of her shopping for a private jet is something that would have like built her story as a character and like introduced us to her, right? So like that belonged in the beginning of the season, and scenes like that only work when they actually purchase stuff. Think Teresa Giudice. I hate even bringing her up because her racist ass deported ass Danny DeVito looking ass husband just made a post on Instagram sucking Donald Trump's dick, asking to be pardoned and be sent back to America. So fuck them right now. However, I remember that scene on Real Housewives of New Jersey when Teresa paid cash for all that furniture. You know, we like seeing stuff like that. We like seeing, you mentioned it before, when Kim Zolciak wrote that check for the Escalade. We like seeing people actually make the big purchase. When Sheree used to be at those miscellaneous stores in the Lynn Lennox Mall buying, those snakeskin purses and stuff. We like seeing that. So I thought it was oddly placed in the season finale episode. It belonged like way earlier in the season, and we only want to see it if you're driving that jet down the tarmac. Otherwise, And what did she say about her body? She was like, I want to take advantage of this good body before you put a baby in me. When they were in the jet, remember, what did she say? It was something, he said something
that, and then she mentioned baby oil. So I don't know if y'all caught that. She did say that, and then she mentioned baby oil, and it was jarring to me. And I was like, listen, we talk about shady editors. I'm like, I'm with Dustin. I didn't understand the purpose of that scene. It literally lasted for 30 seconds. It didn't move story forward. I did not get it. And I will say this. I agree with Claudia and Dustin. As a producer, and I was there when Teresa purchased something. I was there when Kim Zolciak purchased the called Big Papa to get the car. Zeroed out, baby. Cash. Mm-hmm. Zeroed out, baby, off the lot. And not only was it off the lot, she continued to film with that car for 2-3 seasons to let you know it was really hers. But I digress. I tell all reality stars, because I as a producer, you do sometimes get pitched, hey, I'm about to go shopping for X, Y, and Z. My team follows my rule, which is we're not going to follow a look-see if it's not a purchase at the end, because I don't have time. Listen, I'm gonna tell you what happens. I don't have time for the deal you made with the car dealership. I don't have time for the deal you made with the jeweler. I don't have a time to deal with the real estate agent who you made a deal with for camera time. Like, I know how this works. If you're not going to purchase it and I'm not going to see the transaction with the receipt up, we're not filming it. And Dustin is right, and so is Claudia in the sense of this. What's so crazy about Britt Edie is this. I started off loving Britt. In the middle, it was wonky on some real. But towards the end, I've come back to like her a great deal. What's unfortunate is I just feel like it saddens me that Britt felt the need to go car shopping and PJ shopping, because nobody cares about that.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about that. You are a beautiful woman with a successful bob. And for me, I wanted her to really flourish as somebody that has staying power, because it's one thing I tell reality stars who have it tough in the beginning. I always say, just wait it out. Wait it out. And I do feel like people are warming up to Britt now. We obviously know her fate, spoiler alert, but it saddens me that she felt the need to do a PJ shopping without a transaction happening at the end.
And listen, not to take away from her husband, or actually, you know what? I will even say her, because she is married to someone that's wealthy. And when you're married to someone, well, I'm assuming he is, right? I have no reason to not believe that her husband is a successful man, right? But like, even if you are and you have the money to go buy one, like, why are you doing that? It's not really a reality. It seems like the producers are like, yeah, that would look fly. But if it's like you said, Carlos, it's not going to be ending in an actual purchase. It kind of like sets you up for failure with the fans, because we're going to be, whatever happened to the car, whatever happened to the plane. And then we are now going to point out the shortcomings. Like, we all know that you and your husband are getting sued for not paying that country club. We all know that, like, these type of things doesn't really align with someone that actually has disposable income to buy a private jet, to buy a Rolls Royce or whatever car they were looking at. I think that kind of stuff is like, when you put too much emphasis on those types of things, I don't think that makes necessarily a good housewife. Yes, people can sit here and say, well, you was only on one season. Listen, I need to tell y'all, this has nothing to do with me and my time on there. I can still be a viewer and have an opinion just like everybody else in the comments. I don't have to have been on there to have common sense and to be able to form an opinion about this. It's just like it falls flat because it's like reaching. Where we would like you more, Britt, is getting to the origin of some of your behaviors, like why it's clear that you're not a girl's girl, your issues with your family, your fertility journey with your husband. Take us through that. Like that would have made us like root for you instead of like being obnoxious. Like no one wants to see, like it just gives new money. I'm just new to this. Let me just show up that I can go make an appointment at a jet spot and look at a plane before they open up for business for real.
Yeah. No, that was the thing. Because even when we saw the scene where her family came to the house,
you want to like it, don't you? But it was still fell flat.
It felt, well, I'll say this. It fell flat it fell flat and it fell rushed. And again, these aren't excuse me. I'm not gonna blame Britt for that. I'm not gonna blame her for that. This is the thing for me though. It's one of those things where the reason why Angela Oakley is arguably the MVP of the season is because every time that woman came on screen, I believe everything she was doing. I believe everything she was saying. I have yet, and we'll get to later tonight, later in the episode, I have yet to question anything that Angela has said on camera. I literally haven't questioned nothing she has said because she comes in authentically
herself.
Okay,
journalist. Okay, journalist.
You survived authentically. You survived.
Authentically.
Call Porsha for some journalism, for some tips on how to say these words now.
Hey, it's my green energy juice. I'm gonna whatever. Okay. Thank you. The A word that is with Y. Thank you. So with that being said, the family scene, it felt like the PJ shopping scene. It didn't make sense to me. It didn't make.
No.
I was right.
This is the fucking season finale. Scenes with your family. That's how we get to know you outside of your interaction with the other cast members. All that shit belongs. We don't know none of them family members well enough to be invested in the story. All of that shit belongs way earlier in the season when we're getting to know her. It all just felt too little too late, just the same way that her sit down with Porsha and Cynthia at her home felt too little too late. That shit should have happened way earlier in the season. So, that's why it felt disjointed to me. I just felt like it was just completely out of place.
I agree. I think, and as much as I've been on her neck all season, Britt did become more interesting and even looked even better. Like her looks came together. She peaked way incredible. Too late. Yeah, like towards the end, like if maybe things could have been different for her had this happened early on, but I think it was just way too many episodes wasted of her being a victim. Way too many episodes wasted of her. Just every episode for like maybe 4 or 5 episodes was her overreacting to other housewives, popping off, being rude, doing this fake wealth thing, showing us you clearly have never really been in a country club. You've clearly never been on a golf course. You've clearly never really been really ready to buy a Rolls or buy a jet, like all this fake shit. But like she was spicy towards the end. Like I think Grenada, she was starting to show some more personality. And I think we ran out of runway, actually. I think maybe if we had maybe like 5 more episodes, maybe some of us that don't really like her would have probably come around because she was actually giving something instead of this fake, what I think Housewives fans. It's like kind of insulting to the fans. Housewives fans been in it for 16, 17 seasons. Like they can spot fake storylines, fake relationships. So it's kind of insulting to the fans when you kind of try to pull a fast one, like they're not going to be able to see through it. But yeah, I will say she definitely became more interesting and got better look, everything better towards the end. But now we're at the season finale and we got this bullshit.
Yeah. Go ahead, Dustin.
These raindrops. Anyway. But yeah.
Call me T-shirt, Miss Wanda. It's okay, child.
It's just sad. To me, controversial take here, right? They should have taken the Kenya shit completely out of the season. We should not have known any of that happened. We never got that story resolved. We never found out anything else. The season just moved on, felt completely disjointed afterward. If they were not going to if they weren't going to remove Kenya from the entire season, they should have taken out that part of the story and just shot longer, because that actually critically handicapped Britt's performance as a housewife for her first season, because that scandal and that moment swallowed up 85% of her time on the show this season. That's why we feel like we still don't know her. That's why these last 2 episodes we felt like we made some progress, because we wasted the majority of our time with her focusing on the Kenya Moore scandal with the posters. And God damn it, if they weren't going to allow Kenya to stay on for the rest of the season, and if they weren't going to tell that story all the way through to completion, they should have just omitted it completely, because all they did was handicap Britt, piss us viewers off, remove Kenya from the show. It just ruined everything. So why not either continue it or just remove the whole thing? So I think a lot of our disconnect with Britt comes from that situation.
It's almost like she was set up, not necessarily on purpose by production, but it's really a lose-lose situation for her, like almost set up to fail, because once a newbie is kind of responsible, right? Although it's, Kenya had her part to play in this because what she did was wrong, right? But I'm saying like how it's going to be perceived that Britt got her up the show. She's already going to have all of Kenya's fans and people that are fans of the show that wanted her on to be against her. The cast members that are going to blame her, like, man, we would have had a great season if Kenya was still here. And now because of you. So she was kind of in a situation where it was kind of hard to get out of that and win. You know what I'm saying? So
it was impossible. It wasn't even kind of hard. It was fucking impossible.
Yeah, it was impossible.
That's why things ended up the way that they went. I wish that, well, I don't know. You can't speak for her because I don't know how I would have felt if I was in that situation. But I just wish Kenya would have stayed on, because all of this would have made a lot more sense if we could have watched it work out or play out. The interruption just ruined everything. So, and it pissed everybody off that wanted Kenya to participate. So we sitting here with half a damn season, no resolve at the reunion, no nothing. We don't know anything. We're just left to just be like, oh, okay. We look like Nene when she was walking in that party on, what was that, season 5? That's how we look as viewers. You know what I'm saying? That's how we look. So I don't know. I just wish they would have told that differently, but I'm not a producer on the show, nor am I a person who makes those decisions. So
this is a very interesting point. So Raindrops, follow me with this really quickly. Then we'll get into Angela and Phaedra next. That's coming up next. But I want to stop here for a second. I never thought about that. I never, ever thought about what Claudia and Dustin are saying. Dustin brought up a good point, Raindrops, and I would love to get y'all thoughts in the chat.
Chat.
You said what?
I wish I could watch the comments.
I'm looking at them.
They're on fire today. They're all funny.
I would love to interact and engage, but it's just not worth the risk.
No, don't worry.
It's probably best you don't, because they be coming for me sometimes.
They're actually, listen, the Raindrops are good today. No, but look, well, the Raindrops aren't the messy ones. Okay. Anyways, Raindrops, let us know in the comments. Do y'all think we should have seen what happened between Kenya and Britt? Should Kenya moment have never been shown? When Kenya was removed from the show, should everything associated with Kenya should have been edited out? I never thought about that. Would it have done Britt justice if we would have never seen anything with Kenya? Would it have done Kenya justice if we would have never seen it? It's a really good question, Claudia and Dustin, that I never even thought about, because I am a producer. And one thing about producer that I was raised was you show the reality. You don't make you. I was always taught you don't editorialize. I can say that, but not authentically. Okay. You don't editorialize your hands in shifting the narrative to favor one or the other. You show everything and you let the audience decide. But what is so fascinating is I've never thought about that, and I want to spend some time thinking about it, come back next week. But Raindrops, do y'all think they should have never, ever even show Kenya's likeness in addition to that moment? And would it have been better fit for the audience to have seen Britt in a different light? Good question.
It would have set Britt up to be more liked on the show. But like you mentioned earlier, Dustin and Carlos, it already was leaked. It was leaked, so there was no way around that, so they had to show. But I just think they made a big mistake I think the fumble was firing Kenya and not firing Britt. I think they should have, it would have made for a huge season finale had they had brought Kenya in at some point where they could have sat down and worked it out. I mean, there have been worse offenses on this show. People have literally put hands on each other and beat people up on this show, and they were still there. And
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I just feel like it's just different rules for different people, and I just feel like if you're going to let someone allow themselves to come back and redeem themselves from a moment they may not be proud of when they fought or snatched somebody up, whatever, then allow Kenya that as well. And it also would have helped Britt out, and we wouldn't all not we, because it's not everybody, but there's a lot of people that really can't stand Britt, right? Because of that, we never really could get on the right track with her because of that. And either find a way, but it was leaks. So yeah, I agree with you, Justin. I think that if they're gonna not have her on there to defend herself and not have confessionals, I think that's complete BS. But then you show her in 2 episodes? That's all we got. 3 episodes? That's crazy. So now we're left with what if the entire season and being mad at Britt. It would have put them both in better positions, and they would have set themselves up to be able to have Kenya back and Britt next season. And now what do we have? I don't like how they handle it. They could have handled this a lot better, I think.
Yeah, and we can take the fairness piece or even the disciplinary piece out of it and speak merely from a perspective of storytelling, right? It was completely disjointed. And if we were going to abruptly end that story right there and then never tell what happened next or never tell anything and have all this scuttlebutt and all these conversations circulating around this situation online, if we're going to ignore half of it, let's ignore the whole damn thing. That's how I feel. And if not, if we're going to follow the reality and tell the story, being that this incident did take place and we're following the reality, then Kenya should have never been removed. And I'm not speaking from a place of whether or not the disciplinary action was fair. I'm merely and specifically speaking to the story. It just doesn't make sense. If you're going to tell that part of the story, continue it. Kenya's removal made no goddamn sense whatsoever when it comes from a perspective of the story being told on the show. I thought it made no sense.
They could have left a lot of that out. You know what? I remember going out to Atlanta, and I was in Atlanta, and Kenya invited me to the opening of her salon. And when I was there, when I saw what aired on TV, that's not what happened when I was there. So I'm thinking that night's episode never aired because they said, oh, boring, not enough action. So they ran it back, I'm thinking. And what happened the second time, we need more drama. Then Kenya does that, and they got their drama. I don't think they aired the first time with the one I was at, because I didn't see. There was other people there. That wasn't.
They didn't air her hair salon spa season 15. No, they didn't air.
Okay, so it was 15.
That didn't air. Yeah, it was season 15 that didn't air. And then season 16, where we just watched, they aired obviously what happened.
Oh, I thought that was all in 16. Okay.
Yeah, no, that was last year. No, it's okay. It's okay.
Spoke about that in her interview with you, Carlos. She spoke about that in her interview with you.
She did, and a lot of Team Twirl felt that she had to do something for it to make air. Again, these are things a lot of Team Twirl have said. Kenya has not said that, but it's a healthy debate. But I wanted to bring that up because I just never thought about that. It's an interesting take.
And if it was so egregious and so horrible, what happened at the opening where people had to get fired and all kinds of stuff, Bravo had every opportunity to not air it at all, and we would have not have known about it. They could have sat them two down and said, hey, Kenya, you can't do that. This is your warning. Brits, we're apologize and move on. We would have never known. That didn't have to be an episode. They chose to air that, and then they had to do something because of it, because they aired it. And now there's a lawsuit. They didn't have to even air that at all. There's plenty of things that happen on Love and Hip Hop and all the other shows that if it gets to a point where, this could be a legal problem, they protect the cast and they don't air it. And it never sees the light of day. They didn't have to air it. And we could have heard leaks, allegedly, right? But they didn't have to air that. They chose to air that.
So, Raindrops, let us know in the chat what you guys are thinking. So, the moment of the finale, which I talked about this last week, how I as a producer, I never like it when a random person becomes the main story, because it doesn't sit right with me, just based on how I was brought up in this business of producing reality television. But nonetheless, we are here. So the guy in question, who last week made a toast about Charles Oakley allegedly having another affair on Angela, which Charles Oakley has admitted. I'm sorry, Angela has admitted there was infidelity in their relationship. She also mentioned that on my podcast that aired last week. So the continuation happened. I want to get into this, though. I want to get into the scene, the full scene that did not air, but we was able to see 10 seconds of it. So raindrops, those aren't called a flashback. I want to teach y'all something about production verbiage, right? When we saw a snippet of the scene between the guy, Angela, and Drew, where Angela met with him and confronted him, they flashed to it. It's not called a flashback. We call it a flash sideways. Okay? Because a flashback is a scene you already saw before, whether it was season 1 through 10. Those are flashbacks. When you watch a scene that they flash to that aired for like 5 seconds that you've never seen, those are called flash sideways. It's a scene we've never seen ever, but it's to add context to the scene that we're currently watching in real time. I hope that makes sense saying that. Okay.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Does it get on your nerves when you see people call it a flashback?
I mean, because I'm a student. Dustin, shut up.
The way you just laid that shit out.
Carlos has to break it down. Because my raindrops, they want to be educated at all times. So stop calling it a flashback.
Hey, you don't want them to say it no more.
No, because my raindrops, y'all ain't gonna sound crazy like I do, not being able to pronounce authentically, whatever. Anyways, I digress.
And notification.
And notification. Which the raindrops said that this week in New York. Notification. Make sure y'all subscribe and hit the notification button. Okay. I would have preferred to see that entire scene. And the reason why I would have preferred to have seen it is because I think I could be alone. For me, I think it needed context in terms of, okay, what did this guy say to her? How was Angela able to extract this information? What was Drew Sidora's role into all of this, and what occurred? I felt like only showing some snippets of it. I think it left room for a big question mark. Perhaps, again, I'm speaking for myself. I would have loved to see the scene fully, because I would have wanted to know how Angela was able to supposedly get the guy to say his name. We didn't see anything. We saw him slide the phone, and we didn't see what was said on the phone. And I don't know if that was to add to the mystery of it, but I would have preferred to have seen that scene in full.
Yeah, I didn't get what was happening. I'm like, am I slow? Did I not? Because I gotta see. I've had like 5 concussions, so my memory sometimes I be losing my train of thought. So I take these pills that I get on Amazon. They're called Lion's Mane.
Shut up.
Called Lion's Mane. So
Lion's Mane. If you're watching, Claudia Jordan wants a sponsorship deal. Thank you so much.
And it makes me sharper, right? I took them last night, but I haven't been taking them lately. So I was like, oh, I'm having a dumb moment, like mouth breather moment. Like, I'm like, I didn't get the Drew, I didn't get that scene at all. And I'm like, it felt like I was missing something. Y'all felt the same way too? Like y'all missed something in that scene?
Yes.
Okay.
First, I'm a producer, and I'm like, I'm confused.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
It was dumb as fuck.
Okay.
Let's just call it what it is. It was stupid. The guy made no sense. He literally looked out of place. You know what I'm saying? He looked like he had no business being in that room, being a part of that conversation with them. He's a complete stranger. They were using general and generic, very vague names and terms. When they asked him why and asked him to connect the dots, he started making references to Phaedra being a godfather. None of that shit made any fucking sense. And it felt so remedial and insulting to watch, actually. Carlos hit the nail on the head 100%. all the answers that we were seeking as viewers existed in that conversation between that guy and Drew and Angela. Was it Drew or Kelly?
Yeah, no, it was Drew. It was Drew.
It was Drew, because Kelly, I can't remember what her connection was, but whatever. It was just dumb. It had it should not have been there. It felt very lazy and stupid. And I did not enjoy watching that section of the show. I did not. It was very irritating for me. I hated everything about him being in that scene. I hated everything about what he was saying to those ladies. I hated everything about it. Manufactured drama, manufactured shit like that never lands well. It's never entertaining. I hated it.
Damn, $99.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Shout out
Thank
to
you,
that's
Juan.
Juan Autry. Shout out to Juan. Thank you, Juan. Detroit.
One step closer to getting us to Miami.
Yeah.
Hey, Carlos, if we go, I can fly myself down there. I got a buddy pass.
I'm a businessman. I would never have you fly yourself on your own dime for anything.
Can we go private? Can we call Britt and borrow the jet?
No. But if anybody has a timeshare private plane, let me know. Thank you.
JFX, whatever it is.
JSX. Go ahead, girl.
And then it at first it had credibility, oh shoot, Phaedra's at it again because we know she's a liar, right? Can't even get her due date right, lies a lot, the horrible wigs, all that. Actually it looked better on the show last night. She looked good on What Happens Live. But it was just oh, I could see her doing that because she is a known liar. But then the more stuff that came out, it seemed almost insulting, Junebug. Come on, give us a real name. Junebug is such a. I was that part. I was oh, that's cringe. But who do y'all really think sent that person? Do you think it was Phaedra did it? Do you think it was?
So look, I'll say this. And I'm being very honest, Raindrop. So this is my take on it. I'll start by saying this first because I wanna do a whole 360 so that we all can have information. We weren't able to see how Angela was able to extract the information out of the guy that she felt was proof that Phaedra said it. We weren't able to see that. That's number one. In my interview with Angela Oakley, she was very adamant that Phaedra did it. She said based on the connection between Phaedra's brother or something. She said in my interview with her, so watch it, Raindrops. I'm keeping it alive another week before I drop another exclusive. She said that based on the fact that she and Charles have people who love them, and they didn't take that as a reality TV shtick. Mm-hmm. I'll say this. She didn't say this. I took it as they hire a private investigator to do an investigation, and based on their private investigation, they found out information about this guy. She, again, this is all in my interview. She said he has a lot to lose, and she confronted him with this information that she has, and because of all those things, there were a connection back to Athens, Georgia, which is Phaedra's hometown. This is all what Angela said. So we had those two things, right? Then when you watch the show, the unfortunate part is this. I walked away, I'm being honest, because you had Angela say, well, Kelly, why was that guy there? So I'm like, oh, shit. Okay, wait. Right. Is Kelly in cahoots? What's going on? Kelly denied it. Then Britt started saying it wasn't me. You saw Shamia and Kelly nudge each other. So I'm like, do they know something that we don't know? Was it Britt? Right? And then you saw the guy come in saying it was Phaedra. So the unfortunate part is this, and this is my opinion. Claudia and Dustin would love to get y'all take. Carlos King, honestly, if I watch everything, my own interview, if I watch the show, and the 10-second what Raindrops flash sideways we saw, I think is debatable because and that's the unfortunate part about what happened and why I never, and I'm gonna keep saying this, I never allowed a stranger to enter my scene to do anything. That never happens on a Carlos King set. I'm not having a random, especially towards the end of the season, even have the opportunity to do that. And the unfortunate part is this, because he did that and lacked credibility based on how he got there in the first place, you are left with a whodunit still, to me.
And it fucking pisses me off. And second of all, when you put it down to who's lying, Phaedra or Angela, we don't have a reason not to believe Angela, right? Phaedra has not told the truth previously on this show, so we have more of a reason to believe that she would do it. But even with that, based on the facts that we were presented with, you know it's a sloppy ass, horribly pieced together ass story when we are giving Phaedra some credibility here, right? When we're like, well, that don't even sound like her. You know what I'm saying? That's how you know this is raggedy as hell. And I just hate it. I feel like it's very sloppy and very beneath this show. That's what I think. And I don't think Angela's lying, but I also don't think Phaedra, I'm not going to say I don't think Phaedra did that, but based on what they showed us and the reasons that they gave us to believe that Phaedra did it, it doesn't feel like she did that. So it's just even more frustrating because we are left with a whodunit.
And it's like, yeah, like I agree. Like we've had, like Carla said earlier, I believed everything that Angela has said. Like she's never come off as unbelievable. I don't think she would go the entire season to do a gimmick at the very end where she would like lose her entire credibility. Like you can pretty much take everything Angela's been saying to the bank. But then it is weird that it would be on Phaedra, but then Phaedra's a liar. So it does look like if I was like, okay, who would people believe would do something like that who's already kind of done something like this before? Well, we could put it on Phaedra. But I will say this. I don't know if y'all caught this in the scene with Phaedra and Angela going back and forth, right? I don't know what Phaedra's issue with Angela is. From what I've seen, Angela's done nothing to Phaedra. And Phaedra's hard-on for Angela kind of reminded me of season 7, where Phaedra all of a sudden had a hard-on for Demetria. Demetria had done nothing to this woman. So I think there's certain people that Phaedra maybe if she wants their man, maybe, or I don't know what it is. But the way she was like coming for Angela, and in their argument, where Angela's trying to get to the bottom of supposedly Phaedra allegedly being the culprit in this story with Marcus, why does Phaedra go low and say, you went through foreclosure? It seemed like she was like, went in that scene like, I'm going to do whatever I can to discredit and embarrass Angela Oakley no matter what. Now, if you really didn't do it and you have no ill will towards that, why don't you just stick with the topic at hand and say, hey, look, me and you may not be cool, but I didn't do it. I know it looks like crazy, but I didn't. But to kind of bring up foreclosure, it seems like you was, once again, I feel like her reads have been scrambling and kind of lackluster and not really hitting into the entire season. And this is further proof of her deteriorating reading skills to kind of bring up foreclosure in the middle of a scene about me and my husband. And then Angela was like, that ain't no tea. I already told the story myself. And she kind of got it back on track. But I just felt like I think where the real answers are is what is Phaedra's real issue with Angela Oakley, because she kind of came in hot coming for her husband, alluding to things, and she does make it easier to believe she has something to do with it. But I'm not all the way sold as her, but I mean, she's the one that has a problem with Angela unprovoked, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Why did you have that in the changer? Why did you have that in the clip in the chamber? Why?
Right.
So, yeah, and I think this. Yeah, and I think this. I still stand by this. Based on who Angela has presented herself to be this entire season, Angela is by far authentic. And I don't believe Angela's lying, right? So I want to say that I don't think Angela's lying based on what she was told. And that's why you got to have context. And that's why the unfortunate thing is we don't have context to work with. I do believe that Angela was told that it was Phaedra. I do believe that she was told that, right? Based on what the guy said. I believe that. Angela, I don't believe for 1 second Angela made all this up. I don't believe that for a second. I do believe Angela was told, hey, it was her. And Angela got the information and then decided to confront it. Now, I think but this is why it's still in limbo, because it's one thing if a housewife said it that we watched over years or on this season. And I think the thing is when it's somebody we don't know, when it's somebody whose credibility we don't know.
Yeah.
I think everybody, even Angela, has to understand that the unfortunate part is we don't know this guy. And that's the reason why a lot of people are on Phaedra's side, and there's a lot of people on Angela's side. Because at the end of the day, the person who told Angela it was Phaedra was somebody we just don't know.
Yeah.
Whose
Bingo.
credibility we don't know. And I want to say that I don't think Angela's lying. I do believe her when she says, I was told this. And I do believe Angela, who has money to hire investigators, did what she had to do. Now, with that being said, we will see what happens at the reunion, because now we're able to maybe get the full, I'm hoping we'll get the full story. But I think, once again, because it's a person we don't know, I now understand why it is a big question mark.
And you know, it was really crazy bringing that guy in there, and he clearly was mic'd, and we're like, who are you? And in the words of Kenya Moore, who is this hoe? Who are you on the show? And we don't know you. And listen, sorry to bust y'all's bubble in reality TV viewership land. When you see an event and it's a party, a club, that shit is closed to the public. There are no other people there that are not supposed to be there. There is never random people in a scene. It's very, very rare that there's a restaurant, that there's real customers in there. They may have people in there, but they have to make them all sign a release to be on camera. Okay,
it's a controlled environment.
Control, like there's no way. And to be mic'd, yo, that was definitely someone that was brought in and was given an agenda to do that. And the fact that we don't know him, and then the guy's name is Marcus, and there's been some legal stuff about him. I got the his rap sheet that he's a registered allegedly offender. Okay. I do have this rap sheet that's out there. So he's now saying that Angela set it up, and Angela is now suing him for lying for defamation. So she's like, I'm suing you because now you're lying about me. So it's getting extremely messy now. Like that is definitely what's the latest on this story. So he's now turning on Angela. So first you said it was Phaedra, now he's saying it's Angela. So which is it? Because your credibility is gone. Like Marcus, which is it? I don't know.
I cannot. That shit makes it so exhausting, man. We don't have to do this to make this show good and interesting to watch. We just don't have to do it, man. Come on. This is so fucking dumb and stupid. And now some stupid ass shit is spiraling into legal issues, wasting resources. This is crazy as hell, man. And I really hate that, because otherwise the season was interesting.
But then Phaedra did, I will say this, in Phaedra's defense, hey, y'all clip this. In Phaedra's defense, Angela did say that Phaedra is the one that gave her his name and said where he lived.
I was going to say that next. Go ahead, Claudia. Say it.
That confuses me. Like, is that, okay, when people lie, they usually give you a little bit of truth, right? Or they act like they're your ally, like, hey, girl, if I was you, he does live in the city. Or is she innocent here? And she really was like, oh, I've seen him around my city. I don't know what to believe now.
So that's the part. Okay. Oh, go ahead. That's the cover.
No, I'm just saying we don't know what to believe, because we all watched in season 9 when they were in Hawaii and Candy had that emotional breakdown and she was looking at Phaedra like, Phaedra, I don't ever do nothing about no drugs or nothing. You know that. Why would they say that? Phaedra stood right there and lied right in her face and acted as if she wasn't clear about what was going on. We saw her sit at the table in the who said that moment and look as if she was just confused and asking who said it, when the whole time she knew what that conversation was about. So her calling Angela saying, hey, I actually do remember that guy. He's such and such. He's this and that. That wouldn't surprise me for her to do that and be already knowledgeable about who he is. And that's the sad part, right? Is that we wouldn't necessarily put that past her. But even with that, even with that, we still, it's so ridiculous and so sloppily done that we still are confused about where it came from, even with, a callback to those moments that were not so positive for Phaedra. We still don't know if it's the truth. And that's what's crazy to me. So that's how this just simply doesn't belong on this show.
So she could be doing that to throw people off the scent. Like, no, how could I be the one? I'm the one who gave her information. So we don't know. So, hey, question for you two. If it is revealed that really Phaedra was the one, now this will be her second, third, fourth, fifth time with a major lie, do you think, Dustin, I'm asking you, do you think that she should be brought back? Because that's like, you're fucking with the storyline if that's true. And if it isn't, she should be vindicated and we will speak about it and give her a prop. If she's innocent, she's innocent. We should say it. But if it's revealed that she really did do this, and paying outside people or having outside people come, that is so corny. We don't need these kind of curveballs. Do you think she should come back if that's the case?
Yeah, because she's already here.
Mm.
And at this point, this is where we're at with the show. There's a lot of fans that really do like Phaedra, and we're really excited about her being back. And I think that noise kind of outweighs the people who are like, but I remember in season 9 when she did this horrible ass shit. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, she should stay, but there should be somebody there to kind of check that or balance that, right? And with the absence of someone like Kenya, with the absence of other people who kind of would have held her accountable, right? It just goes unchecked, and it just goes at further than it needs to go. So, I mean, it depends on what the fans like and what they want.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So listen, I think it's one of those things where nothing was super concrete, and like I said, I think it's because it was a lot of things. This is a thing, because they happened at the not even the tail end, at the very end. A lot was thrown at us in this supersized episode. It was supersized, and we still left thinking like, I want more because what is happening? But I think because so much was thrown at the audience, I'm not mad at the audience because I'm not mad at me. For listen, I'm always going to be somebody that looks at the full picture. If I'm basing every single thing like the audience did off of that show, that episode, I understand why the audience is divided. I understand it. What I'm not divided on, child, is Shamia and Britt getting into it again, child. So I do want to talk about that before we move to the last scene of the episode. Britt and Shamia get into it again. Shamia brought up Kenya feeling threatened with the gun and called Britt a whore. She also called her a whore in the other scene as well. Keep your clothes on. She also called her a pill popper, which is the second time we heard that reference. But I want to ask y'all this. It has less to do with that scene, because to me that was just typical, like, yeah. I watched the finale also thinking this, because again, we know the end of the story when it comes to Britt Edie. Carlos King, based on what I watched, because again, I confirmed Britt did watch the episodes. She watched them all. I did confirm that Britt had her outfit ready for the reunion. I don't understand why she decided not to go based on those variables. To me, there wasn't anything that I witnessed that warranted a no-show at the reunion.
Yeah, she had worse episodes than these last two. If anything, you should have quit after like the 3rd or 4th episode, not these. Like, this is when you would like start to actually come into your own, looking better, having more interesting scenes. And now is when you quit. Like, she should have came, stunted, showed why she should be back next season, and why I was the one that got rid of y'all's favorite. Well, not got rid of. Kenya got rid of herself, I would say. But, you know, like, she just makes bad decisions. She makes bad decisions in her storyline. With this whole experience, she really fumbled an opportunity.
I think whoever, I'm sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to jump in front of you.
It's okay. No, we're into this. It's just conversation. I just feel like she's, I don't know who's advising her, because she just makes erratic, bad decisions.
That's what I think. I think that was someone in her ear advising her. I think that I don't know, and I'm assuming all of this. I have no idea if this is true. I'm literally making this theory up, right? But it seems to me that as soon as she began to entertain the idea of some sort of legal action, I think whoever she talked to about that advised her to exit the show for that reason. I think that she had to look like she was stopping participation in the show because of what she was going to do legally next. That's the only thing that I could come up with, because otherwise there's no reason for her to abruptly end her participation in the show. Why wouldn't she come to the reunion to vindicate herself after being misunderstood all season? You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense. And so I think the timing of her making the announcement that was not her in the alleged photos, coinciding with the timing of her announcing her I don't think it was a lawsuit, but whatever the legal action it was that she took against the network. I think the timing of that coinciding with the filming of the reunion, I think all of that kind of rolled right into each other. And it seems to me like she was advised to stop participating in the show. That's the only plausible theory I can come up with.
Yeah, but wasn't the season shot like a while ago? It was shot a while ago, wasn't it? Like last year.
Season, but the reunion, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The reunion, the timing of the reunion being shot with when she announced that wasn't her in the alleged photos, then announced the legal action, and they were filming the reunion like right around that same time in that same week. I think that's why she ended up skipping it. I think.
Even saying that, like, if you have a lawsuit saying you guys really made me look horrible with these photos released of me, and then saying, but they weren't of me. I know her lawyer was probably like, yo, shut up. Like, don't say that. Don't say anything. Like, we're trying to sit here and prove that, you know, you were, you know, this is revenge, whatever, you know. I just, she's making more mistakes. Like, even that's a mistake in a lawsuit. Because if it wasn't you, do we have a case?
Right.
Yeah, that's why all of that is, listen, all around. I'll say this about Britt. This is my opinion as a viewer. I would have liked to see her at the reunion to address some things. As a viewer, I didn't see anything these past couple episodes to not show up. If anything, I think she became likable towards the end, just based on what we are thinking and the audience is as well on social media. So look, I wish her the best, whatever her endeavors provide for her. But I will say is why, now I'm talking as a producer, is why I tell all reality stars, wait till the end. If they hate you now, there may be some redemption. And also I tell reality stars this too, don't get a big hit when they like you in the beginning, because the table can turn towards the end. So you just got to ride that wave and just know that as long as I'm cool and I'm me, the rest will be history. Last topic of the night is Porsha was shown back. I'm sorry. Porsha was in her house, and we, the audience, got a chance to finally see it. What did y'all think of Porsha's home? Did it live up to what y'all thought it would look? What y'all think about the scene?
Two things I want to say. I want to give Porsha props on that dress she had on at Angela Oakley's event. She looked bomb. The dress was everything, and they honored her. She got emotional and talking about her cousin, Lonnie. I thought that was really nice. And listen, Porsha doesn't disappoint when it comes to her clothes and her looks. That dress was so bomb. Like, I got to give props where props is due. She killed that. The house looked beautiful. I see why she called ICE and got Simon locked up so she can get her house back. Allegedly, I'm joking. I don't know what happened. But I would have fought for that house too. That house looked beautiful. It looked great. And her daughter running around the house, little rich black kid calls like you like to see. I like to see that too. I wasn't mad at it. Like, hey, all is fair in love and war. And she ended up, they went and filmed that after they was done being wrapped with a season. That is so petty. I know Simon was sitting back in Nigeria, watching it like, she's in my house. You know what I mean? Mad as hell. I can't really do a Nigerian accent, but I know he was mad as hell watching that. She was frolicking, and she just, you know, that was a moment where she's like, nigga, I got the house. And you got deported by ICE. I don't know who called. Not saying, I don't know who called, but you there and I'm here.
She literally, I'm with that. Whoever that was that just posted that comment, whoever that was that just made that comment about, I'm with that right there. That is literally what I'm trying to say. Anyway, that scene was hilarious to me. Number one, that they went back and was sports was like, shit, we gonna film in this house this season. I was rolling. Second of all, it's a big, pretty ass house. We saw it back when she purchased it, and the video that accompanied the real estate listing had kind of gone viral, and we got a chance to virtually tour that house. It's a beautiful fucking home. And it was good to see them in that house. And I was laughing because it was a very audacious scene, right? Her and her mother all traipsing through that house, and then getting to they clinking toasting glasses and shit, and they're freeze framing it on Porsha with the glass raised as they inform the audience that Simon was detained and deported. All of that was all intentional, and it was definitely what I would like to call a last laugh for sure. So
someone said it was creepy. They said Porsha's scene was creepy. Do you think it was creepy, or do you think she was just getting her get? I mean, even though it is a temporary get back, because
it wasn't creepy. It was not creepy to me. No, whatever that means. What Nene say? Whatever that means. it was not. It wasn't creepy to me. No, it was funny.
I'm no fan of Simon, so I was okay with I thought it was kind of funny, actually. Like, even though she may not be able to live there long term because it got to be refied and all that stuff, and it's an expensive house. But listen, he didn't want her to film in it at all, and she got at least one scene.
Yeah, yes, she did. With her, her mama can't be in. She had her mama sitting right there, clinking glasses.
Oh, Diane's gonna be there, clinking a glass and encouraging her daughter to go get it.
No, I thought it was a perfect bookend to the season because the first episode premiere, we saw Porsha say to the audience, "I'm not able to film in my house because of X, Y, and Z reasons." So to end the finale on us being in the house, listen, I think it was a lick back from everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like the network. I think we all was like, it was. I literally chuckled because we weren't teased that. So when you saw all of the end cards of everybody, all the housewives, whatever, ending to the season cards, I was surprised to see Porsha back in the house and us being not back in the house, us seeing Porsha being able to film in the house and do a little wink to the camera like we're in the house. I thought it was a funny way of ending the season. I really enjoyed this season, and like I said, we do have 3 reunions to recap, which is going to be amazing. But shout out to everybody. Listen,
yes,
this has been fun. It really has.
Absolutely. I enjoyed this season, flaws and all, personally. And I can't wait till next season. So good job, ladies.
I want to say it's been fun. I know it's not over. We have a couple more episodes, but I hope there's a way or a world that we can continue doing stuff together. I really enjoyed doing this with you guys, letting y'all let me come and play with y'all on y'all's platform. It's been really fun and something to look forward to every week. And I really have had a good time with y'all. Raindrops, thank you for the love. I see some of the hate, but it's all good. I'm used to it. When you a baddie, you used to that. But I'm just saying, no.
Hey, Britt, Edie, yeah,
I might keep the real. But anyways, no. But it's been really fun, and I haven't watched the show since I left. I think I watched 1 episode, so kind of getting back into the Real Housewives bag and watching it. It's been fun to kind of analyze it from a different standpoint than just being on it, like just watching it as a viewer and not with any. I remember that scene. No, just watching as a viewer like y'all. So it's been fun.
Yeah.
So I hope there's another show we can review.
I love it. We're gonna do Potomac. We're gonna do Potomac, and we're going to also do a white one. We should do the Real Housewives of Rhode Island, the one that they're about to start. We should do that. You know what, too.
Andy?
The white mess.
Andy Cohen, you motherfucking tried it. Okay.
Oh, Rhode Island.
The Real Housewives of Rhode Island. Miss Rhode Island right here. Okay, that's fine. I see you. You know how many people hit me in my DMs about that? I'm like, no. But again.
And Funky Dineva said that you should be on that show too.
I did see that. But I do live in Dallas. But Carlos, there's always that show in Dallas that I already sent you the deck for.
Look at us.
That you did.
That's a good show. I didn't like it. I loved it. I love it.
Hey, Raindrops, if you want to see Carlos King co-produce a show with me in Dallas about the scene here in Dallas, because listen, the way when they did Housewives of Dallas, they did not get it right. They had not one black face, not one black woman. Let me tell you something about the wealth, and not just wealth, but there's black women here that got it going on with the look, the relationships, the money, the businesses that they started, the still trying to find love, people coming out of marriages, going into them. There's a whole scene here. It is a gold mine that is untapped. I'm just saying.
No, the Dallas community is beautiful, like Claudia Jordan and her friends are. So listen, you never know. So stay tuned. And Raindrops.
Tyler Perry, are you watching? If Carlos doesn't want to do it, Tyler, are you watching?
I'm sorry. I will look into it again. But Claudia, Dustin and I are back next week to give y'all a recap. Part 1 of the Real Housewives of Atlanta reunion. So you will see us next week. Thank y'all, Raindrops. Love you guys. And we will see y'all on the next one. Bye.
Bye.
Happy